Alright, so we're here again for another episode, and this one is going to be about forces and moments. And the idea came to me while I was doing a bit of writing for race car engineering on the subject of vehicle dynamics, for which forces and moments are quite prevalent. So then I kind of got to thinking how the forces and moments influence the world around us. So I'm actually on my way to the gym now, and at the gym, forces and moments are used consciously or unconsciously in lifting technique. So I do a bit of Olympic lifting at times, and especially in Olympic lifting, to get the balance of forces and moments right is essential for a good lift. So I'm going to use that to introduce the concept, and then we'll move on to some other uses. Alright, so before we go any further, I'll just get into a little bit of an explanation about the concept of centre of mass or centre of gravity. What the centre of mass is a point in space at which all the mass of that object can be assumed to be concentrated, and the point at which all the forces acting on that object can be assumed to act upon. So when we're talking about the weight of objects, i.e. gravity, you call it the centre of gravity, but in other dynamic situations, you usually call it the centre of mass. So in this case, I'm going to assume my centre of mass is around here, and it's going to be assumed to be situated somewhere between the balls of my feet and my heels. If it moves away from that point, as in towards my heels or towards my toes, it's going to pull me off balance and I'm going to fall forward or backwards. So let me demonstrate that with a little bit of lifting. Alright, so here I am at the gym and I'm doing a power clean. I've got 100 kilograms on the bar, and the aim of this lift is to move the bar from the floor to the fronts of your shoulders in one smooth, constant movement. So you have to coordinate your whole body to exert a force on the bar, a vertical force, to accelerate the bar up to the fronts of your shoulders. And what you can see from this shot is that starts just above my toes, in line with my centre of gravity, and I should catch the bar on my shoulders above my centre of gravity. And by doing that, I'm not allowing a moment to establish itself to pull me away from an equilibrium position around my centre of gravity. It's the same thing with the overhead squat. The bar starts directly above my centre of gravity, and as I lower down into the squat position, I have to keep the bar above my centre of gravity, which is above the balls of my feet, approximately. If I don't do that, I'm either going to fall backwards or fall forwards. Olympic lifting relies heavily on forces and moments. If a lifter doesn't get those right, it's going to be a failed lift. Similarly with this Offaxis looking building in Abu Dhabi, the centre of gravity not being within the centre of the base would have required some creative thinking to get a good understanding of how to best react to the forces created by that moment arm. This tower crane, you can see the big block of counterweight at the back end, and that's job is to balance all the forces within the structure and keep the centre of gravity above its support to minimise the moment generated and result in a nice efficient looking structure. So relating that back to vehicle dynamics, which is what initially inspired me to make this video, the balance of a cornering vehicle is dictated largely by the placement of the centre of gravity along the longitudinal axis. If the placement of that centre of gravity is too far forwards, for example, you're going to require a larger force to be generated from the front of the car in order to maintain moment equilibrium. And so given the fact that a car is generally going to have the same tyres front and rear, that equation doesn't work. Therefore, balance is lost and you get understeer. Take me attempting to handstand on this longboard. It was all going so well until the board moved out from under me, a moment arm was generated between where my arms are supporting me and my centre of gravity, and down I went. But I hope that communicated some of the basic concepts to you and is enough to get your interest, inspire you to do a bit more research yourself. I enjoyed making it. As usual, there's more coming soon. Next time.